How we doing, traders? Sorry I am late. Looks like the cannabis boys must have gotten high and stayed over their time because tick, it's time for Money Mitch. Let's get it started. Got a great show for you guys. Going to explain about the intraday action, what's next in the Fed hikes, why gold seems to be on a run for uncertainty. We got EV talk, an interview with Ivana, that's going to be coming on up, guys. That's the ETF, SPRX. I do have another stream going off in my ear. That's why I seem a little bit weird and it's blowing my ears. So let's just get it started. Welcome to Money Mitch.
It's time for Money Making Mitch. When investors need a story, we're going to the moon. Welcome to Money Mitch, where story is everything. I'm here to find you the next opportunity. It's all about the green hands. Now we all know the bull market is here to stay. Money Mitch.
All right, guys, how we doing, guys? We're going to get into our talking. We do have an interview to get into, and that's in about 5 minutes. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get to everything today. I'm going to try to do my best. They cut me short today, so I'm just going to do my best to give you guys what I can give you and in the time. So let's just get right to it. Let's get into some of these stocks. I don't know what's been going on. I got to figure it on out, but hey, let's get right to it. Let's take a look here at the SPY and see what we saw today. I'm going to be really quickly running through this because I don't have too much time to get into it. You guys in the chat, throw up comments. I'm going to try to catch up, but hey, the only thing I can do is run through this. We're going to look to see if we get back below 428. We recovered that. We cracked down multiple times there, but we're able to recover that during the close there. We'll see if we can continue to hold this. If you take a look here, we tried to crack there 3 times on the 15-minute. I'm going to watch to see what happens in the after hours or the futures to see if we break down through that 428, or we'll definitely be looking tomorrow to see if we get towards the upside of the 438 on the upside. This is 428. Sorry about that. All right, just trying to run through it, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's keep going. Next on up, we're going to talk about what's going on in the Fed hikes and if this is going to go on. One thing that I can kind of point to is look how the financial services have been dropping lately. These were going on up because there was potential for, 6 rate hikes. So I think that you got to keep your eyes on these financial services, see if they turn back around to see if we're going to get kind of that push. Of course, we're going to have that Fed meeting later on in March. So stay tuned for that, guys. We'll see what happens if we do get a rate hike or not, and how big. Is it going to be 0.25? Is it going to be 0.5? Stay tuned. We'll definitely keep on watch right here on Money Mitch. All right, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try to go straight into gold because if not, we're not going to get towards what we need to today. Let's take a look here. Easy trade here that was given in gold. We actually took this trade 2 times. We took it right out the gates here. I'll go take a look here on the 1 minute to kind of show you guys that right out the gates. We took this one. And then we ended up selling it and then getting right back in it. You know, we got this one on a VWAP bounce trade right out the gates. We had gold kind of coming right back to the VWAP. We got in there. We're able to sell into the rip. And then one of the cool things is we actually got back into this at VWAP when it came back down, eventually selling some into a move into that 2320s. I actually got break even stopped out on the rest of this, but that was part of it because I just set the stop and just let it work. I had to get to some work and work on some videos. But as you guys can see, this continue to go on the 15-minute, completed the pattern and then came on up there towards 2350. We're going to continue to watch to see if we can get gold to continue moving. You guys know how I like gold, and I've been calling it out for a little while here. As we've been seeing the gold stocks definitely keep pushing. If you take a look here at the index, look how we kind of had this sideways action after we broke on out. Now we're really starting to push. And I think this is definitely one to keep on watch. One of the things when you get uncertainty is, yeah, we've had times where the market has had some big drops and I haven't seen gold react how, you know, everyone calls it kind of that hedge for when the market's coming down. But in this time, in war times, I've definitely seen it. And if you look back, we could definitely see gold gaining in appreciation. Why? Because a lot of the kind of the money also can go into kind of gold here. As you guys are watching gold push on out, we'll keep watching some of these names. AU, is one that I got out of already in my swing trade. But look how this has been performing. This has been a monster. So we'll definitely keep this on watch. I'll definitely also watch NEM, kind of the market capitalization leader in gold. So we'll continue to see how this is reacting. But basic materials had a good day today. I'll keep watching to see if we keep getting this inflationary trade. You guys know I've been calling out coal continuing the drive. Another one that I'd give on coal that we haven't talked about. We've talked about BTU. We've talked about CEIX. Let's talk a little bit about METC. Look how this is setting on up here on the daily. We'll look for it to continue breaking out through the 1650s. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap on up. At the end, I'll get into a little bit of EV talk. I want to talk about some of the semi-trucks that are potentially going to be coming on out here in 2022, and we got to keep an eye on it. You know, one of the things is we got some great ones that are going to be coming on out. Hyliion, we got Nikola that had been pushing, Tesla, even Volvo. So we'll talk about that. And also, I'll touch a little bit on the Bros Report when we get out of our interview. Now, I do want to go ahead and get right into our interview today. Today, we're going to go ahead and speak to the founder and CIO of SPRX, Ivana Delevska, and we're going to get into the ETF, which is SPRX, guys. So SPRX, you guys know how I always like to look here at least a little bit before we get into it. You can see we've been kind of catching some bottoming action here. One of the things that I can clearly see also is some of the names that are in this are pretty interesting. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get into the interview. Let's go ahead. When we return, we'll jump right into it.
I tell all my CEOs, this is a very, very, very important platform. And look, all the other platforms are important too, but you're up there now. You're way up there.
Best investments you can do in your future is actually go and re-educate yourself on credible sites and credible resources like Benzinga. I think you guys have been killing it.
The comments section on this show is remarkable. Like the quality of the combo, and just big shout out to you and your community.
That's what I love about you guys. You know, you just had all your callers in right then. And it's all about the community here at Benzinga.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's bring on Ivana here. One of the things that I can tell you right off the back, I could see you smiling in the back. Do you enjoy seeing how we try to approach it here? One of the things is we're really all about the retail investor, and that's what we do at Benzinga. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Definitely excited to have you on. Let's get into it. One of the things right off the back that I want to know is a little bit more about you, Ivana. How did you get your journey to bring you to making and being the founder of SPRX?
So my background is in the industrials and industrial technology. I spent 10 years working at several hedge fund platforms, and then I spent 4 years working on the sell side as a research analyst. So what I love about SPIR is that it combines both aspects in one, where the focus is really on investing, but really the underlying value is based on research. So we really focus on thorough research, try to identify areas that are misunderstood by the market, especially in times like this with so much uncertainty. Everything gets punished the same way. So we really go one by one and analyze these companies to see where the value is.
Definitely. Now, one of the things that I can clearly see is we've been having more and more actively managed ETFs come on out. Now, let us know a little bit more about yours here. We have the ticker is once again SPRX, guys. We'll take a look at it. What's the investment objective here and the investment strategy behind the ETF?
So the investment strategy for SPIR Invest more broadly is basically to identify opportunities across the entire supply chain. So we focus on industrial technology, but the idea is instead of just going for the obvious winners and losers, we try to go up and down the supply chain to see if there is something that has been misunderstood. So areas like cybersecurity are a good example where our companies have fundamentally changed their architectures. They fundamentally changed how they use their data. So what we're trying to understand is who are the vendors that will provide solutions for this new infrastructure, and who are the vendors that will provide ways to secure the new infrastructure. So that's how we ended up looking at cybersecurity pretty closely, and especially now with geopolitical risks being in focus, this is going to be an attractive area for for us going forward. But really, the fundamentals of our strategy are just to go up and down the supply chain and understand where the opportunities are.
Definitely. I'm going to go ahead and bring up here so you guys can see a little bit of the website. Check it on out. I have it in the description below if you guys want to follow along. Let's talk a little bit more about kind of the positioning here. So going into Zscaler here, one of the highest weighted assets in the ETF. Is there a reason why this is the largest position in the ETF? And also, of course, we did see a recent hit on the earnings report, but just to kind of put it out there, it did kind of fill the gap already, fill that shadow today. Let us know, how do you feel about the stock after the earnings?
Yeah, sounds great. So as I mentioned, we love the cybersecurity theme overall. We have exposure to several names that relate to this theme. And Zscaler got really hard hit on earnings, so we were able to size the position up post that hit. So we love the stock here. I think the biggest misunderstanding between what the street is expecting and what we are expecting is that we think that growth will be stronger than 30% for many years to come. So we are projecting 30+% growth for 10 years. If we look at our DCF model and the current stock price, the market is actually implying less than 20% CAGR for the next 10 years. And we think that is just not realistic. So basically, if you look at where the cybersecurity market overall is growing at a 10+ rate. So this company is exposed to the highest growth of the cybersecurity market. So the market itself should be able to carry it beyond 20 and to our expectations of above 30%.
Definitely. Now, one of the questions that we're having in the chat, I'll just go ahead and I'll just bring it on in here right now. One of the things we like to do is definitely bring those questions in. So Jay Rice asking here, he's not seeing a lot of volume, but how big is the fund and float here?
So our fund is recently launched and it's about 5 million in AUM. At this point, a lot of it is my personal money. So basically the way it's structured where I put my own money into it and do research on this idea so people can stay informed. But basically the one thing that I've been really trying to educate investors more about is that the liquidity of the fund is not determined by the liquidity that you see in terms of volume. So I think that's a pretty interesting thing where most people would think a large fund is very liquid. That's not necessarily the case because the liquidity of an ETF is for the most part driven by the underlying holdings. So if my ETF holds shares of liquid securities, you will be able to go in and out. It doesn't really matter whether there is volume on the tape or not.
All right, so let's continue talking about it here. Let's get into another theme here that I see kind of just from the holdings and kind of see here. We do have some exposure to the metaverse, right? I mean, it's a big word here. Two of the largest positions I'm seeing here, NVIDIA, Unity Software. I think they're both players in this space. What do you see in these stocks that could apply to that theme?
So absolutely, the metaverse is a very important theme for us, and where we try to play is in the building blocks. So we're really trying to understand who will be the companies that will provide the infrastructure that people will be able to use to build on top of. So NVIDIA is one great example. They have a platform called Omniverse that's really going to be used more by engineer designers, so more industrial applications. But the bottom line is that companies have been really looking for this. It's not necessarily a new concept. The concept of Industry 4.0 was introduced 10 years ago. Now we're just having the tools to be able to use it. And Unity is another idea that we really love that plays on this theme. The company provides a platform for 3D content creation. So currently over 50% of games would be built on this platform and over 70% of mobile games. So what industrials companies can do and just more broadly, retail industries and others, they can take these 3D content design tools that are used for gaming and apply them to their respective industries. So the last reported quarter was the first time that we saw Unity highlight other industries as a major driver for future growth. So they're really gaining scale to a point where they're going to be able to drive the company's earnings.
Yeah, I definitely see you at least getting some kind of different themes here. One of the things that we'd love to talk about is, of course, where do you see opportunities now that we've kind of, we've gotten a little bit of the headwinds of the Russian situation to actually hit the tape now. Where do you see some opportunities showing up and presenting themselves?
So we're really trying to find opportunities where the stocks have been hit, and we're trying to kind of benefit from that pullback. So we talked about cybersecurity, we talked about the metaverse. EVs is another area where basically with high oil price, with oil prices where they are today, you're going to have to put a lot of money in building the entire infrastructure around EVs. So it's really not just the auto OEMs. There's going to be many opportunities to invest in EV materials. There's going to be many opportunities to invest in EV infrastructure. So it's really the whole supply chain will benefit from massive investment going forward. And I think that's really something that with the growth sell-off, people are not appreciating today.
Definitely. I agree. It's one thing that's going to definitely move forward. And it's one thing that I've been looking at, a theme that's definitely going to come into play. One of the parts of that EV that I really think is important this year is the developing technologies in autonomous, right? And LiDAR technology. I think if we could really get that LiDAR technology down packed, I mean, the consumer will be trying to really get that vehicle because, I mean, hey, I don't know about you, but I definitely would love an auto drive. And I think that's what really gets the consumer to the next level. We'll be watching how these technologies develop, but it looks like you guys are watching the same. Now, one of the things that I can see in the holdings, there's about 25 companies right now in the holdings. Is there a specific amount of companies that you want to keep in this ETF, or is it just kind of going to be kind of varying?
So the ETF itself is non-diversified, and it's non-diversified on purpose. We try to be really focused on the stocks we pick specifically, and we really try to estimate the upside and the downside of each specific opportunity. So 25 is about the right amount for companies that we can properly analyze and add value to.
Definitely. And so the last question I have is, of course, now we already have SPRX, but is there any plans for any other ETFs to be coming out to market?
So my focus is really on this fundamental strategy. My background is in long short investing. So further down the road, I could have products where people would have both long and short exposure. But really for now, SPRX is the focus for us.
Excellent. So that's definitely one thing that we'll be watching. We'll look to see, is there maybe a theme that people are missing that you feel that is really a giant opportunity that maybe some investors aren't focusing on? We've talked about EV. We've talked about the metaverse. We've also talked a little bit about cybersecurity, but is there another theme that maybe we're missing out on?
Well, I think one of the most important themes, just stepping back from what we look at, is active versus passive investing. So what you've seen over the past 10 years with the Fed having a loosening economic policy and money supply being available, that's a huge tailwind for the market. So you really didn't have to look for active strategies to outperform. So if the S&P is returning 15, 20%, people will just plow into these passive strategies. And we feel like that's been a trend that's been happening over the past 10 years. Now, looking forward, I think we're going to see something very different. The market no longer has the tailwinds of the Fed. So it's really going to be a lot more about stock picking and identifying the actual winners and teams of that will outperform long term.
Excellent. We'll definitely keep this ETF on watch. And of course, like as many have been watching, of course, with Kathy kind of putting, I would say, the active ETFs really into retail mindset, I do you guys the favor. Take a look at the research, take a look at some of the stocks that she's taking a look at. And I think it's one of the things that is very important is going about it in a theme. I do this all the time. I try to create the baskets, right? And I think that's the approach that's coming in here in the ETF, and also not going into just one theme. I think there's definitely many different themes in here, some higher quality names, and also I see growth and value mixing in here. I'm sure that was a part of your idea there, Ivana, to have a mixture of both, right, in the ETF?
Yep, absolutely. So we will always have a mix, and depending on where we see the most value of the individual stocks, determines the mix of growth versus value. So going into this year, we were overweight value, but after this sell-off in growth, we're just finding a lot of opportunities that are down 50, 60, 70% plus from their peaks. So growth has become back into focus. The other thing I'd point out is that we publish our research on our website, and it's available for free. So for people that want to just learn and get educated on some of these themes, I think it's a great resource.
All right, definitely, guys, check it on out. I do have the link down below, and you guys can go ahead and also reach on out. I would love for you guys to get some research and let me know how you guys feel about some of the tickers in here. We did get some great comments, so we'll appreciate you coming on, Ivana, and we'll definitely have you back. We'll be looking at the ETF and kind of keeping an eye on it. Appreciate you coming on.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. We're going to get into some EV talk. Continue the theme talk, right? I mean, we were just talking about some themes. Let's get into another theme that I wanted to touch today, which was EV trucks. So let's go ahead. Let's touch that. Let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so that you guys can see what I'm taking a look at. And so there's a couple of them that I'm really taking a look at, and there's some that are in my forefront, right? And so one that I've talked to publicly and also am kind of keeping a close eye on is, of course, Helion. Helion just recently released, they got 50 units backed by deposits here. They now have 150 of their Hypertruck ERX in production slots confirmed and reservations for nearly 2,000 additional units. GreenPath Logistics ordered those 50 units. And really, I mean, this is one of the companies that has been following them and continuously trying to get these units out, right? We're going to continue to watch to see how this semi-truck kind of develops. But what I like about Helion is not only that they're ERX, right? This is their truck, but they also have a hybrid solution. And I think this is very important to have. I think we want to have a little bit of mix, because some fleets, let's just be honest, guys, it's going to be harder for some fleets to just go straight to replacing all their fleet. So retrofitting might be done first for certain companies. That's why I like that they have a different opportunity there with a different product also. But if we take a look, let's take a look at some of the competitors, right? And so you have Nikola. We could take a look at Nikola. We all know kind of the story about what happened there. But I mean, who knows where this company can get to in the next couple of years. They did deliver 2 semis in December. They also gave up on a $2 billion patent kind of lawsuit that was against Tesla for their semi-truck design. But we'll keep on watch. You know, one of the things is with Nikola, they're definitely trying to get their name back in the forefront. If that does happen, I would say pay attention to it. But of course, it looks like here, you know, we're just going to keep watch to see if the semi-truck can perform the way it's being advertised. I think that's the important thing. It's advertised up to 350-mile range. You guys can keep on watch. 645 horsepower. We'll keep watch, because I mean, there's been very few of these semi-trucks that have been released by the company, so we haven't been able to really test them live. I'll keep this on my radar because I've been looking to see on what happens next in Nikola. Let's take a look at the Tesla. Tesla, of course, has been just pushing back their timeline. This was supposed to come back out in 2021, and now we're in 2022, and there's still no real release date here. And so this is a little bit of a concern. I think this has to do with supply chain issues. You know, of course, we talked about that, the chip shortage, and how Tesla's been battling that. I know they're trying to get their own chip set, but I think this is what's been going on, a little bit of supply issue in Tesla. We'll see if this really starts getting out there. I mean, I know this is going to be probably one of the leaders in the semi-trucks. Because, I mean, who's not going to want to have the Tesla because of the brand name that's already out there? But I just don't know when they're going to actually release it. So that's the thing to keep on watch. And I think this is going to be a big driver for Tesla, right? Because everyone views Tesla as just a vehicle one. This is, I think, they're going to be that next step. Okay, so now we have a semi-truck. Now we can focus on different areas. You guys know how I've been mentioning the Powerwall for a while. I thought that was an awesome product that Tesla came out with. And I think you're going to continuously see different types of electric products coming out of Tesla, whether it be kind of from here. I mean, who knows what could come? We're at a semi truck, we're at a car. Why not some stuff in between that? Can we get some off-roading things? We'll pay attention to see what happens in Tesla. And the last one I talk about is Volvo. Volvo is actually interesting because most people just don't pay attention to it. This is one of the leaders, and if you really look at it, their electric vehicle class and what they've done already in the electric vehicle game is actually massive. If you look at comparisons in the world from market share with Volvo and Tesla, they're actually pretty close. So I would keep on watch Volvos. It's one of those kind of names that just gets lost because there's so many hype in the other ones. I wouldn't keep this one off my radar. I definitely would have it. But of course, one of the things that happens is how it's traded, right? And that's the problem that happens with Volvo. It's not just easily, you can't just go and buy it out there on the open market. It's usually traded on international markets, OTC. We'll see what happens with these. Last one I wanted to touch is Bros. So Bros earnings report came out, and this is one of my favorite stocks. You guys know how I like this stock. Reason why? I'm still seeing lines out every time I go past a Bros. And the funny part is half of them here in Colorado are right next to Starbucks. I will see the Starbucks drive-through completely empty. And then I look at Bros and there's double lines and there's usually about 6 to 10 cars in the drive-through. So this is definitely one that I keep on watch. Last time we've had a great drive when we actually bought this and sold it up there to 75. It came back, it bounced up there near 60s. Now coming back towards this longer term support line that we're going to look to see if it holds here. This is the 41 line. And with their earnings that just came out today, I'll give you guys their report. They got a 2 cent versus a 2 cent estimate. Revenues were at 140.1 million versus 133 million. So definitely beat on the revenue side. Now, one thing that you can see here is that same shop sales were up mid-single digits. So keep your eyes on that to see that same shop sales expand and see the growth. I'm actually looking to see if this company really starts pushing east because we know they're more westbound in the United States. And I can tell you right now, this is one that I could see in the long run really competing and taking some market share from Starbucks. If you can see how Starbucks has been out of favor, I'm going to definitely keep this on watch. But I think this is the beginning and end of Starbucks. I know I'm a little bit crazy and some people will think I'm crazy for saying that, but I definitely do feel like you just had a change in sentiment. And Starbucks just isn't as favored as some of the newer kind of coffee places that are coming on out, whether that be Bros, or you guys can look at some other ones. I know there's like Kangaroo Coffee, but that's not really an open, publicly traded stock. So keep your eyes on it. We'll see how the coffee boom kind of comes back. And you guys know how I like my Dutch Bros. I need to get this company again. I don't even have him right now, but I definitely would love to have this in the long-term account there, the Dutch Bro Life. If you haven't tried it, I definitely say check it on out, guys. Check it out for yourself. Do some research. See if you got one that's nearby and also nearby is Starbucks. I did some research on the ground, and every time I look at it, I'm blown away by this company. So, Bros, check it on out, guys. That's going to be it for me. You guys know how I always love to talk about story. What we do here on Money Mitch is always trying to combine three things: the story, the fundamentals, and the technicals. And I like to use three variables because I've learned over my time in trading that if you rely on just one, it's not just going to be as accurate as trying to get those high conviction trades. I hope you guys out there continue to do well. Keep your eyes on those basic materials. That's my focus right now. I'm still looking at the inflationary trade. Of course, with what's going on in Russia, I could see inflation even rising out of control, even further out of control than it already is. Fed is a little handcuffed here. We'll see what happens with the hike rates. Do they go to 0.25? Do they go to the 0.5? We'll have to keep on watch. Like always, we'll do it right here on Money Mitch. Please give me a thumbs on up. Let me know what you guys thought of today's interview also. And if you guys like some of the tickers in this ETF, let me know. We'll check it on out. Till next time, guys, hit the thumbs on up. I'll be back on live trading with Benzinga tomorrow. We had a great day today, had a good trade in gold. We'll keep watching to see what happens in oil. Oil looking like it's coming back to a logical move. I didn't expect to see it down or sideways action after the kind of the war situation there. And today, you know, we did get release of the, here you go, I have it right here. We got the release of we got 60 million barrels of oil emergency release, but I don't think that's going to be enough. And we could see it today. U.S. crude was up about 10%. So we're going to keep on watch. To me, I think this is actually kind of a positive. Why? Because you just don't have bullets after this. This was like your last hurrah to try to get it down. So we'll see if this actually brings down the pricing in crude, or do we get to $120 a barrel? That's what I called out about a couple of weeks ago that I was concerned about. That's why I didn't want to get short on oil names. We'll see if we can get up there. Like always, hit the like. Until next time, see you right here on Money Mitch.